So I'd love for us to get started, and we're just going to start. I think most of you know this, but this class, all my classes are donation based, but the proceeds from this class and the class that I taught at 3 o'clock are all going to an organization called For Them All. Or sorry, did I say For Them All? Free Them All for Public Health. It's an organization in New York City that helps provide bail for people who were incarcerated, arrested in the protests, and for other reasons as well. But I chose that organization. It resonated with me, especially most recently having been from NYC. And as we said, there's a lot going on in the world right now. So I want to just take a moment before we dive in to honor where we're all at. So you can find yourself in a comfortable seat. I'm sitting up on a block, but if you don't have a block, that's no problem. You can rest your hands on your thighs and go ahead and close your eyes. And together, let's take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Allow yourself to land wherever that you are. Allow yourself a moment to acknowledge wherever you are, however you're showing up to this class today. If you're watching this replay, just being with exactly where you're at. And then taking a moment to honor and acknowledge what's going on in the world, in your world. And just giving that a moment, a space to breathe, to be. And together, let's take a full breath in and a full breath out. One more, just like that. Full inhale and complete exhale. Go ahead and open up your eyes. And let's go ahead and move our bodies. So come to your mat. If you do have props, it's nice to have a block for this practice. If you have a block, if not, no worries. We're going to be doing some warm-up, some lunges, sun salutations today, and I would love to do a little restorative at the end. So if people have props, that's great. But if not, we'll figure it out. So come to your tabletop position. Sorry, I'm just trying to join from my iPad here so I can see you all, but it's taking a moment. So hopefully that will come back online. But find yourself in your tabletop position, hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Press the tops of your feet into the mat. Press your palms into the mat. And before we move at all, see if you can equally distribute your weight in between those 4 points of contact. Notice if you are sitting in your shoulders or you're sitting back into your knees, your feet, and try and equally distribute your weight between all 4 points of contact. If you have your block or if you have a book or a shoebox, you can bring that up to your thigh or bring it to the back of your arm to measure up and really find that right ankle. Also, if you have your screen, you can look at your screen and find 90 degrees there. So rooting down through all 4 corners. As you inhale, drop your belly, lift your heart, look up. As you exhale, coil and round your spine, press the floor away. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your heart, look up. Exhale, coil and round. And then start to move between your cat and cow at a little bit more rapid pace, keeping that strong connection to the earth, undulating your spine forward and back, starting to create some heat, create some movement, some fluidity here. And not just stopping when you get tired, but challenging yourself to push past that place of resistance to make a change. Let's go for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Pause in the middle. All right, so let's see if I can do this again. And then let's flip the right palm around 180 degrees so that the fingers face back towards the knees. Lovely, now I can see you all. Hello, Miss Chloe. And we'll start to take circles around the right wrist. So notice, make sure that you didn't bring the hand forward or back when you flipped it around, that it's still right underneath your shoulder. Keep a little bend in your elbow and start to move around the wrist, creating more space in that joint. And not just opening up the wrist joint, but also opening up the shoulder joint. Looking forward. I always like the imagery of smiling with your collarbones. You can imagine your collarbones are smiling out, or at least acknowledging the people that you see in front of you. If you see people in front of you, maybe you're just smiling to yourself. And then come back through center and go the other way. So taking it in the opposite direction, rotating around that right wrist still. Noticing if there's a corner of the wrist that's popping off as you start to move around it, and see if you can plug in through all four corners of that wrist. Nice, keeping it very safe and secure. Come back through center, flip the right palm around, left palm flips around so that the fingers face back. Again, try not to lock the elbow, put a bend in the elbow and take circles around that wrist. Looking forward, opening up through that left collarbone. Pressing down through your feet and then switch directions. On this side, noticing if there is a place in the wrist that you sink into, that it's easier for you to go into, and try and even that out. Go to the place where it might not be easy for you to go. Come back through center, flip the palm around, tuck the toes and come to sit back on the heels. If this is excruciating for you and you have a block, you can put it in between your heels and your seat, but we're not going to be here for that long, and we're actually just going to do a little bounce today. Before you start to move though, make sure that all of your toes are tucked under and that your knees are pointing forward, so they're not splayed out, they're pointing straight forward, and just take a little bounce. Move a little bit, creating some energy. If you want to shake out your hands, you can shake a little thing out here, just getting some shit moving, flowing. And especially in the bottoms of the feet where we tend to tense up or not go that often. Come back through center, untuck the toes. Let's just come to sit back on the heels for a moment with the toes untucked. So keep the feet untucked. And if you'd like, you can start to lift up the knees here. This is opening up that front top part of the foot or the ankle really. And when we open up this, we're also opening up the front of our hip. And that will be helpful when we do some of our lunges and sun salutations in just a few moments. Come forward, back onto all fours. We're gonna cross the legs this time. So left knee in the center, right leg sweeps around. Make sure that your knees are still underneath your hips. So when I do this, I used to tend to like bring my knees more forward so my hips would sink back. Make sure that you still have that structure even though we're adding another fold here. You can keep the hands where they are. If you'd like, for this one, you can come up onto fingertips. Start to stir the hips in a circle. So going around one direction with your hips, moving some energy there. You can press down through the tops of your feet to keep yourself rooted. And once again, look forward and imagine broadening out through your collarbones. Go the other direction. So taking it counterclockwise if you went clockwise, noticing which direction might be a little bit more challenging for you. Good. And then come back through center. Bring the palms down. You can walk them about a palm print forward and swing the left leg in front of the right. If it's not graceful and you need to kind of maneuver yourself, this cross-referencing of the legs, crossing of the groin, is not always the most easiest thing. For me, it's actually really challenging, but that's sometimes why we need to do it. So hands underneath shoulders still, feet go wide. You can keep the hands where they are for this one if you'd like to. You can flip the palms back, so both hands go back this time. Micro bend in the elbow, and let's all start by circling the hips in counterclockwise direction. Make sure you're not locking the elbows. There's a little bend in the elbow. Starting to swivel those hips. Nice. Keeping your breath moving, keeping your vision forward, your collarbones widening, and then go the opposite direction. So how quickly can you switch it up? Can you change it up? Can you adapt to a new way of moving, a new way of being? Nice. Yeah, if you want, you can get your head and your neck involved just to get a little bit more movement there. And then come back through center. Flip the palms around, but keep your legs crossed. Tuck your toes. You're going to have to walk your feet in a little bit more and come back up into a downward facing dog with your legs crossed. So the left leg is in front of the right. And we're really crossing up at the groin. So actually, let's all walk back to the back of our mat. Walk your feet in so they're just underneath your hips. For me, my left heel is lifted. You are working to get both feet, all four corners of the feet down. But that might not be a reality for you today. So work with where you're at, challenge your limit, but also know what is realistic. Get that cross as high up in the groin as you can. So I'm not just crossing the ankles here. So I'm not just like crossing at the ankles here. I'm really trying to cross at the groin so that, yeah, we've just got a better bolt, a better cross reference, a better braid. And then start to walk your hands forward and come all the way out to your plank pose with your legs crossed. Here's where it gets really spicy. Drop your hips for a modified upward facing dog with your legs crossed. My top foot is floating off the mat. It's okay. You can get them down, awesome, but it might not happen. And then send your hips up and back, downward facing dog with your legs crossed. Let's come through that once again. Inhale, come forward to your plank. If you can't do the up dog, try it. You can also just stay in your plank and then back to downward facing dog. Nice. Walk your hands back to your feet once again. So everyone has the left leg on top. Bring your hands over to the right. Do a little dance. So you turn around yourself and you end up at the back of your mat with your feet crossed, but this time the right leg is on top. See if you can cross way high up in the groin. So way high up in the groin. You might even need to reach in there and like manually manipulate that leg. Drop your head for a moment here. See if you can get all four corners of the feet down. And then walk your hands forward. Coming into your plank, your modified upward facing dog with your toes tucked. Again, my top leg is not, my foot isn't rooting down, but maybe yours is. And then downward facing dog, hips go up and back. So feet are hips with distance. They're not as wide as your mat. They're also not just together. There's a little space. Come forward to your plank, modified up dog, and downward facing dog with the legs crossed. Nice. Let's do one more like that. Come forward to your plank, modified upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Come back to a regular downward facing dog, or I guess we haven't done a regular downward facing dog. So unwind your legs They're hips width distance. You can swivel one foot in. The heel should just brush the arch of the opposite foot. That's hips width distance. Walk your hands back just a little bit. Left hand stays down. Right hand is going to reach for outer left heel. So you're taking a twist. Hips stay level. So lift up through that right hip. And then look underneath your left armpit. Lengthen out through that whole left side. Breathing on the side that your head is facing, so that left side, that left lung. And then switch sides. So right hand comes down, left hand reaches for right outer heel. Lift your hips up, rotate, look underneath your right armpit. Lengthen out through that whole right side. Breathe on the side that your head is facing. Good, and then come back through center, walk it out to a plank. Let's just take a regular old modified upward facing dog. Drop your hips, fire your heels back, heart lifts. And downward facing dog. Hips go up and back. Walk your feet forward to the front of your mat, coming into a forward fold. You can measure your feet once again. This time you can use your fists, so 2 fists in between your hand, or two fists in between your hands would be interesting. 2 fists in between your feet, and hang for a moment. So you can grab onto opposite elbows, put a little bend in your knees. Let your belly relax. Let go in your back so that your legs are just holding you up. Maybe soften through your face, your jaw. Lifting up through the buttock bones. Switch which arm is on top, so the opposite elbow. Maybe open and close the jaw just to release some tension there. Imagine you could root down through your heels and at the same time lift up through your buttock bones. So you're actively creating more space along the backs of the legs. Now interlace your fingers behind your head, creating a little bit more traction for the neck, letting the head and the neck go. And then keeping the hands behind the head, slowly roll up 1 vertebra at a time. Keep sending your knees forward. Keep sending your hips, your pubis forward. And then take this into a little bit of a back bend so that the elbows point straight up. Release the arms down by your side. And then come down. We're going to do Katonah Yoga sun salutation. So I'm going to walk through it once. If you want to take a seat or take a sip of water, something, take a break. If you know this, great. You can just use it as an opportunity to pause. But I'm going to walk through it and show you guys. And we've been working on all of the pieces, so you'll see where they come in. So you're going to start at the top of your mat. As you inhale, you'll reach your arms up. And I'm sorry you can't see my arms or my head, but I'm just reaching up. Tadasana. And then exhale, fold forward. As you inhale, look forward, and then you'll step your right foot back. Keep the toe tucked as you drop the knee down, because we're not going to be here for long. Inhale, reach the arms forward and up. And then exhale, hands come down. Step back into a dog, but you're stepping into a cross-legged dog. So that left foot steps in front of the right. I have to wiggle that right foot over to the left side of the mat a few inches to make that work. Inhale, you'll come forward and through to your modified upward facing dog with your toes tucked, your legs crossed. And then exhale back to your downward facing dog. It's always the back foot that steps forward. So back foot, right foot steps forward, back knee down, left knee down. Reach the arms up, lunge. Hands come forward, and a little different this time. Left foot steps behind the right for a cross-legged fold. As you inhale, you'll come up with your legs crossed. So really squeeze the legs together. Think you're braiding the legs together to create one strong leg beneath you. And then hands to your heart. Arms can come down by your side. And then we do it on the second side. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale to fold. Look forward, back foot. So left foot this time steps back, low lunge. Drop the knee down. Arms reach up. And then hands come down. Step the right foot in front of the left. Inhale, come forward and through modified upward facing dog with the toes tucked, the legs crossed. Downward facing dog, hips go up and back. Back foot steps forward, so left foot forward, back knee down. Arms reach up. Hands come down. Step the right foot behind the left. Cross-legged forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Hands to your heart, arms by your side, and we do it again. So, any questions before we get started? Let's do it then. Let's do it. If you do have your phone on you and you want to play like a song, we're going to do this quite a few times. The point of it is to be a moving meditation. So we do it, and through the repetition, not only do we refine it, but we also then are less, we're not like thinking so much about what we're doing. And so it becomes more of a meditation. So like I said, if you have a beautiful song you want to put on, I'm not going to play it just because I still haven't totally figured out the audio. And I think we all need a little something different for this. So you can play your song and we'll just get started. So we'll start at the top of the mat. Feet will be about hips width distance. This is the only time our legs are going to be parallel versus crossed. So starting at the top of your mat, I'll just give you all that are still figuring out your music another moment. If you're here, find all four corners of your feet. So ball of big toe, ball of pinky toe, inner heel, outer heel, and root down. As you root down, also rise up. As you inhale, reach your arms up, look up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look forward, step the right foot back to a lunge. Back knee down, so right knee down. Keep the toes tucked because we're moving pretty quickly. Arms reach forward and up, and then hands come down. Step back, cross-legged dog. So left foot over, right, cross-legged dog. Inhale, come forward and through modified upward facing dog with the toes tucked. And then back to your downward facing dog, hinge from your hips. Right foot steps forward, back foot forward, back knee down. Inhale, arms reach up, hands come down. And then left foot steps forward behind the right, cross-legged forward fold. Inhale, arms reach out and up. And hands to your heart. Arms can come by your side. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale to fold. Back foot, left foot steps back, knee down. Arms up, lunge. Hands down. Right foot over left. Cross-legged dog. You might have to adjust your feet. Keeping the hinge at the hips. Start to unfold, opening up into your modified upward facing dog. Downward facing dog, hips go up and back. Back foot, so left foot steps forward, right knee down. Come up for your lunge. Hands come down. Right foot behind the left, forward fold. Root through both feet, rise up, reach up. Hands to your heart, arms by your side. We're gonna keep going. If you'd like to change your pace, you can change your pace, but I'm gonna keep cueing it at this kind of same pace. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale to fold. Right foot steps back, right knee down. Arms reach up, lunge. Hands come down. Left foot in front of right. Down dog with the legs crossed. Inhale forward and through, modified up dog. Downward facing dog, hips go up and back. Back foot, right foot forward, left knee down. Lunge. Left foot steps behind the right, forward fold. Root through your feet, rise up, lift up. Hands to your heart, arms down. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale to fold. Left foot steps back, lunge, back knee down, arms reach up. Hands come down, right foot steps in front of left, down dog. Forward and through, up dog. Back to your down dog. Left foot steps forward, right knee down. Reach the arms up. If the arms are too much, you can just come into this lunge. You don't have to reach the arms up. Step the right foot forward, come into your cross-legged fold. Arms reach all the way up, hands to your heart, arms by your side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale to fold. Right foot back, right knee down. Low lunge. Step it back to your dog. Inhale, forward and through. Modified up dog. Downward facing dog. Right foot steps forward, back knee down. Lunge. Left foot steps behind the right, forward fold. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale to fold. Left foot steps back, left knee down. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale to fold. Right foot in front of left, down dog, to your up dog, back to your down dog. Left foot steps forward, right knee down, reach the arms up. Right foot steps behind the left, forward fold. Reach the arms up, inhale. Hands to your heart, exhale. One more time each side. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale to fold. Right foot steps back, back knee down. Lunge. Hands come down, left in front of right. Down dog with the legs crossed. Forward and through, upward facing. And downward facing. Right foot forward, back knee down. Lunge. Left foot steps behind the right and fold. Reach the arms up, look up. Hands down, exhale. Inhale up, exhale fold. Left foot back, look forward, lunge. Step your right in front of your left, dog. Upward facing, downward facing. Left foot forward, back knee down, lunge. Right foot behind the left, forward fold. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Arms by your side. Uncross your legs so you're standing with your feet, hips width distance, and close your eyes. If you're in the middle of a cycle, you can finish it out. Let yourself be with your breath. Maybe noticing what that experience was like for you. And when you're ready, we'll find our way back into a downward facing dog. So regular downward facing dog this time. Whoa, this is wild. I don't know if you can see this, but my mat, sometimes when you have a mat on carpet, it moves. When you do like something like that, like a salutation where you're constantly moving, my mat moved. So you can come to your all fours and then come back to your dog. Maybe walk from hand to hand, foot to foot. Just moving things around, remeasuring. And then you'll lunge your right foot forward. The back knee will come down. You can untuck the toes so that back foot plugs into the mat. We're gonna hang out here for a few breaths. And so we have a little bit more time to clean up the shape. Not that we can't be clean as we're moving through the salutation. We still wanna be in the joints and in the correct archetype of the pose. But we have a little bit more space we can work with it. So find that your right heel is underneath your right knee. And then walk your hands out to 45 degrees. That right knee and that right armpit should meet. If not, you'll want to find that connection. It's a good measurement to know if your foot is really underneath your knee and if you're in that hip joint versus just bringing your foot too far forward or too far out to the side. And then pull your right hip back, your left hip forward so that those hips are squaring here. Notice where you might like to go and see if you can just measure up to the archetype of the pose. Good. If you'd like, you can reach your arms up. If you want, you can stay in that lower version of the lunge. And then interlace the fingers behind the head. Pointer fingers, your elbows go straight up. Keep rooting through the top of that left foot and keep bringing that left hip around so that those hips stay at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. So if you had a clock around your pelvis, the right hip would be at 3, the left top hip would be at 9. Not 2 and 8, not 10 and 4, but 3 and 9. Good. Release your hands down to the mat. And then walk your right foot out to ballet first position. So it's 45 degrees to the right. We're gonna come down onto the elbows onto the left side. If you have blocks here, you can bring blocks underneath your elbow. If you can't reach the ground, you can bring your elbows onto, or your forearms really onto those blocks. What I don't want any of us doing is like rounding in the spine or really trying to force ourselves to get down. If the floor is not accessible and you don't have blocks, just use your fingertips. And we're going out to the left, So out to that like 10 o'clock on that imaginary clock. You can also tuck your back toes here and lift that back knee. If that is a position that you'd like to explore, you can try that. But I want you to think pubis, navel, sternum goes forward to that 10 o'clock on your clock. So Steph, yeah, go more to 10. So away from that knee. So it's like the knee goes to 2 and you go to 10. You're creating more space. The hips stay at 3 and 9. It's really tricky. Okay, if you have the back knee lifted, drop it down. And then we're gonna come up onto that left hand, and the right hand is gonna go to the right knee. I'm actually gonna turn this, I don't normally do this, but I'll turn this video on my iPad just because it'll be you'll get a frontal view of me for those of you who are live. Sorry for anyone watching this. So right hand to right knee, left hand stays out towards that 10 o'clock, and you just start to open yourself up. The other thing that you can do here, you can stay right here. This feels really nice, just pressing on the knee, or maybe it doesn't feel really nice. You can bend the back knee and reach for the foot. So you might want to look to the main image of me for this one. Reaching for the foot, kick that foot back, and then your vision goes, you look down at your sternum or your belly button, and then you go out from there. So that's where your vision goes. You're not cranking the neck, you're just opening up through that whole front line of the body. This is like a whole lot for you. It is for me too. I always feel like I have a demon living in my left hip, but you gotta go face that demon, right? Good. If you have the foot, release, come down, walk the foot back underneath the knee, tuck the back toes and step it back, downward facing dog. You can come forward and through to an up dog if you'd like, or just take your moment to pause in your down dog. And look forward, step your left foot forward to your left thumb, and drop your back knee down. So we're in our lunge on this side. Once again, knee is right over ankle. So take the time to measure it out. You can grab your block, you can look at your camera, walk your hands out to that V shape. Now this is really wild, like seeing me on 2 screens. Walk your hands out to that V shape. And then if you'd like, you can come up into the lunge. You can always keep the arms down. You don't have to lift up. Work for those hips at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Something I love in this pose, if you're like me and you tend to go really deep, you have like a lot of range, bring a block in like the front of that right thigh. So underneath the hip, but on the thigh, and it just gives you a boundary so you can't go so deep. Sorry, we're gonna interlace the fingers to the webbing, and once again, take it as a back bend as you pull that right hip forward, that left hip back. Elbows go straight up, nose points straight up, and you lift up and off of your kidneys, those organs that sit in your lower back on either side. Nice. Come down. Walk or turn that left foot out to ballet first position, so 45 degrees on the left side, and then elbows come down to, it's not really a good angle, elbows come down to 2 o'clock. Hello. So your knee goes to one side, and then your pubis, your navel, your sternum start to point towards the other side. Actually, your pubis really points forward. Your navel kind of points forward, but it's your sternum and your gaze that look off towards 2. Try and keep that whole foot down. Oh, Chloe, in those hips. It's a lot, I know. If this is not accessible, you can be up on your forearms for sure on the blocks, or just bring your hands up. And then let's take that twist. So the right hand stays out towards the side a little bit. The left hand comes to the left knee and gently presses it open, but try and keep the whole foot on the floor just so you have that contact, that connection. Notice if your shoulders are going up towards your ears, and roll them back and down. And then look to your belly button or your sternum, and then vision goes out from there. If you want to, you can bend in that back knee and reach for the foot, and then the foot kicks you back. The foot opens you up. Ugh. Yeah. Come back down, gently release the foot, walk the left foot in back so that it's underneath the knee, and then step it back, downward facing dog. Let's all come forward and through modified up dog. So regular modified up dog and downward facing dog. Hips go up and back. Nice. Drop your knees to the mat. And I just want to take a quick moment to see what we have as far as props. Chloe, do you have any blocks? No. Fern, do you have any blocks? You do. Okay. Chloe, do you have a blanket or something you could kind of use? Awesome. All right. Let me just check the time. We got plenty of time. So I wanted us to do a little bit of restorative. Now I'm going to just not focus on that camera because it's confusing. I wanted us to do a little bit of restorative because we did do a lot of opening up, a lot of heating up, a lot of twisting, cross-referencing, and that's great. We're agitating, we're boiling our waters, we're stirring stuff up, and now this is the moment where we can go in and we can reflect on what's there. What do we want to keep? What do we want to get rid of? What do we want to change? And so let's go ahead and start with a forward fold, a seated forward fold. This one, if you have a blanket or a towel, it's nice to sit up on it. So I'm going to place that towards the back of the mat. It's also nice to have a block or a pillow. You could use a cushion or a pillow from your couch if you don't have a block, just for your head. So you'll come to sit back and you'll pull the flesh away from your sitting bones. Keep a little bend in the knees, and you can put yourself up as high as you like. So if you know, oh, I usually have tight hamstrings, like bend your knees as much as you need, put yourself up as high as you like, stick another blanket underneath you. And then feet are still hips width distance in parallel. So if they kind of flopped out to the side or you lost that measurement, find that measurement again, hips width distance in parallel. And then you'll start to fold forward to grab onto your feet, bend your knees as much as you need to make that happen. So when I do that, my belly comes to my thighs, and I can find that connection of chest to thigh and start to release in the back, release in the belly, and instead be in my joint space. If you have a block, you can bring a block there and drop your head onto a block. You can use, this is where you can also use a pillow or even like a water bottle. I mean, that's probably not the most comfortable thing, but it is nice to have your head supported. And then in this shape, we're going to use the breath to explore. So the breath, the imagination. As you inhale, you'll imagine you're rising up the backs of the legs. So from the heels, behind the calves, back of the knee, back of the thigh, to the buttock bones. And as you exhale, that breath or energy will spill over the spine. So from the base of the spine all the way down to your shoulders, your arms, your hands. Continuing that circuit, inhale up the backs of the legs. Exhale, round over the spine. Inhaling up the backs of the legs. And exhaling over the spine. Continuing that breath on your own cycle. Imagining that you are wrapping yourself up. You're creating this safe cocoon for yourself to go in and have your insights. As you stay in this pose a little bit longer, maybe you walk your buttock bones back, or you drop your block down to a lower level, or you bring your block up to a lower level. Or perhaps you simply use your imagination to go deeper. Taking another 3 breaths at your own pace. And then we'll come out of this in a back bend. So keep those feet flexed, the legs active. Grab on for opposite elbows, look forward so you create this frame for your head. And then start to come up like you're unfolding yourself. I like to think I'm opening a can here. And then use the contact of your arms. Lift yourself again up and off of your kidneys. See that your feet are still flexing straight up. Create more space in the back body. Good. And then let's take a little twist here. So twist over to the right. Left hand comes outside of that right leg. Right hand can come up onto fingertips behind you. And you start to turn. The hips still stay at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. And then the twist comes from your torso. You look back as much as you can, but it's more rotation in the shoulders, and then the neck is like the cherry on top of the sundae. You're not cranking this all from the neck. Still keep those shoulders unwound, so let them relax. And then lift your chin slightly. Inhale, come back through center, reach the arms up. Exhale, take the twist over to the other side. Keep those feet flexed. Right hand outside of left shin, left hand behind your back. Inhale to sit up, exhale to twist. Coming back to that imagery of those broad, lengthening collarbones. So you can imagine that they're lengthening out in either direction. And looking back, keeping the chin parallel to the ground. So not lifting it up and totally disembodying, not sinking into your depths, but being in the middle of yourself. Come back through center, arms reach up, and then release them down. And then we're going to come into a supported back bend. So I'm going to show with blocks first, and then if you don't have a block, you can just get the idea where we're going, and use a pillow or use again, a cushion might be good here, even a rolled up blanket you can use for this, which I'll show you in just a minute. So what I'm going to show here is a supported fish pose. Your blocks will go like equal sign towards the back of your mat. One is for your shoulders, one is for your head. And you'll sit sort of like we just did in our fold, buttock bones down on the mat. You can pull the flesh away from you, and then you'll come back. Shoulder blades will find the block, head will find the block, arms will go out towards the sides. If you don't have a block, you can, something another teacher taught me is you can roll up a little blanket and make it into a makeshift block. You can do this a little bit lower, just on the shoulder blades, or what else? Yeah, you don't have to have one underneath the head. If you do have a cushion, like kind of almost like a bolster type cushion, you can, or rectangular shaped cushion or pillow that you can squish up, you can just make this like one full solid thing to lean back on. The important thing is that your heart is slightly elevated, and that your shoulders can relax and open up, and those legs are long. And if you don't have two blocks, if you just have one block, you can do this with just one block. It's kind of a lot if you have the block on the highest height. I don't really mind it, but let's see what it feels like. If you can do it on the second highest, or sorry, on the medium height. You can do it on the lowest height too. And just play with what you have, make do with what you have. Again, heart opener. And we're gonna be here for a few breaths. So we went in, and now we're gonna open up, but open up in a really safe, supported way, and more of an introspective way. So close your eyes, let your shoulders open, your palms can face open. Let your belly soften. Let your face soften. Let whatever support, whatever structure you have built up, let that support you. Let yourself relax into it. And not even relax, because it's not like, the point of this isn't necessarily that you are laying on a beach and you're getting a tan, you're, sipping a Mai Tai. It's more that you can relax because you're covered. You're safe. So let yourself feel that in your body right now. And if you don't feel that, adjust something so that you are supported. If your props are not doing it for you and you need to just lay down on the mat, that is cool too. And then the breath that we're going to work with here is, I don't know if it has a name, it's just an expansion and a contraction. So as you inhale, you'll feel the expansion in your lungs. I want you to imagine that as expansion, radiation, growth, outward energy. And as you exhale, that comes back into the center of your chest. So it gets really small. So you inhale for that expansion, going out, radiating out. Exhale, let that energy contract back into you. Continuing to move through this inhale and this exhale. See if you can challenge your limit. can your inhale be more expansive? And can your exhale be more cleansing, more concentrating? Neither one of these is right or wrong. And they're both tools, ends of a polarity that you get to play. You decide how much you go out. You decide how much you go in. Sometimes we need more in, sometimes we need more out. Sometimes it's easier for us to go in. But let yourself be the magician. The magician card in tarot has access to all of the tools. Not that he or she or they have to use them all at once, but they have them at their fingertips. Taking another round or two here in this shape. And then slowly, gently, you will find yourself in a comfortable seat. So take your time. There is no rush to get here. Finding yourself in a comfortable seat. I'm sitting up on a block in a blanket in hero's pose. You can find what works for you. And whatever you found in those last two poses, thread that through here. So it's not forward fold, heart opener, meditation, it's a flow. One pose transitions to the next, informs the next. So comfortable seat, you can pull the flesh away, or maybe it's not comfortable, but structured seat, pull the flesh away from your sitting bones. Let your hands rest on your thighs. Find your shoulders stacking over your hips. If you opened your eyes to come up here to readjust, close them once again. Engage the imagination. Root down through that left sitting bone, that left seat, that left hip. And then rise up through that right shoulder, broaden through that right shoulder, pulling those two corners of your torso apart, creating more space. Root down through your right hip, your right sitting bone, and then broaden through your left collarbone, pulling those two corners apart. Like you're an artist stretching the canvas of your body. Let your right shoulder drop. Let your left eye lift. Let your left shoulder drop. Let your right eye lift. Once again, go down to your seat. Find that perineum plugging in. Find that stability, and from there, lift up through the crown of the head. We're gonna walk through the magic square once. If this is new for you, it's an embodiment meditation. So we use the magic square, this route, to explore different places in the body with the breath, with the awareness. So you'll just follow the sound of my voice. Imagine a golden thread of light, column of energy coming down through your skull, through your throat, through the center of your chest, through your torso, down out through your perineum, connecting you to the big socket of the earth. That's one. For two, you'll bounce up to the back of your head on the right. So the back of the right eye, the thoughts and feelings in the back of your head. For three, you'll continue around the back to the left shoulder. Once again, letting that left collarbone broaden out. For four, you'll bounce up to your left eye. 5, you'll drop down to the center of your chest. And before we continue, connect back to 1, your perineum, 2, back of the head on the right, 3, left shoulder, left arm, 4, left eye, 5, center of the chest, 6, right hip, right foot, right root, 7, bounce up to the right shoulder, the right hand. 8, travel around your back down to your left hip, your left root. And 9, come up through your center to your third eye, your brow. 10, draw a circle around yourself, packaging it all up. Take another breath in. Exhale, let it go. Go ahead and open your eyes. And as always, thank you so much for joining. I will hang out for a few minutes if anyone has questions.